I'm hoping what I said could make you change your mind, though it doesn't really matter when my hands are tied. I'm trying to walk across the bridges that I've burned. My only way to you is gone, the tide has turned. So give me a light, show me what I need.
Good morning. Today, or this morning rather, we're at the Quiraing. So it's about 6:10 and the sun is going to rise in 10 minutes directly in front of us. Where we are is the furthest that we've ever walked along this path. I always get to this bit and think, let's carry on, let's carry on. But the bend on the path against the edge with the rocks doesn't look very safe. So we've gotten to this point and settled. I can't go any further than what we are. But nevertheless, we've got a beautiful morning. We've got a little bit of a gap on the horizon, which is good. We've got some nice clouds and we have actually got a little bit of colour in this direction across here. So I've currently just really got a very simple basic composition, just looking directly across to the Quiraing with these two little lockons just in front, and in the foreground you've got all these patterns on the in the fields, and you've got so many different shades of greens and sort of browns and oranges. It's lovely. There's quite a lot of heather just in front of me, but it would mean going closer to the edge and getting lower down, and it's just not something that I'm feeling comfortable with at the moment. I don't know that it's going to do very much, but it's lovely to be out. So I'm just going to try and grab a shot over this side while we've got a little bit of colour just starting to ping through over there. It almost looks quite pastel-y, quite subdued colour pretty much, except for that one little spot, although at the moment I've just not quite got that. So I think I'm going to play around with that composition and try and incorporate these absolutely magnificent shapes that jut out onto that horizon there, and just see what we can capture. But yeah, it's shaping up to be a lovely morning. A little bit of a breeze, not much. It's cold enough to have your hat on. Not yet cold enough to have your gloves on. But yeah, I'm gonna see what we can get and just whether that'll do much more as it comes up, but I'm going to take the shot now just in case. So the sun is just rising now there in front of us. I've tried to get a couple of different shots using these peaks. I've turned my attention away from this shot just maybe until that sunrise is just a little bit higher, although there is quite a bit of cloud just above it, so I'm probably going to have to be quick, to be fair, because once it goes above the clouds, the light will go anyway. But what I've just been trying to do is focus on a mixture of exposures there, just to expose for the foreground and then the sky, and blend them together afterwards. There's just a couple of people that passed through and went down this path across, and I was nearly physically sick watching them trying to get up this path. It's just, I would absolutely love to be able to carry on and go over there, because the needle is something that I've always wanted to photograph. But I think I would actually fall off worrying about my footing and being so close to the edge. The sun there now is actually fading. I would say it was quite a vibrant orange as it just came up above the clouds. but it's fading there, and just casting some really soft light. Just on these vertical shots, very, very simple. There's not much to them, to be fair. So I've just got the tops of those two just as the sun come above the horizon there, and that's it. Nothing special. I think what I'm going to do is maybe just have a look if I can get another shot here. As we were walking down, we came past the famous classic shot of the tree overlooking that view, and the tree's in full bloom, there's berries on it, and I paused for maybe a second or two and thought, should we? If it looks quite nice as we're walking back, I may do. But I'm gonna take a shot here now, just while that light is just a little bit soft, and before the sun disappears behind those clouds. But lovely morning. So just before we lose that light, I'm just framing up a little shot across this side using the histogram, because I've not put any filters in, just so that I don't blow that sky out. So what I'm looking for is just making sure that the highlights are not clipping on this right hand side, and just trying to sort of balance the exposure there. So I've got my ISO on 64. I'm on f16 just to try and get some real sharpness in the shot, and that's giving me excuse me, that's giving me 1.6 of a second. I think, probably, to be honest, from where we are, there's probably not that many compositions shooting this way that we're going to be able to get. I could come out and do a real wide one, possibly, but by doing that I get this road in, which I don't really want. So I suppose what I could do is, on this side here, on this bank, there is quite a bit of heather that I can just see picking up, catching the light. So what I could maybe do is try and recompose the shot, cutting out the road, using some of this heather and incorporating this other peak to my right. So I suppose it's just, you know, playing around with focal lengths, as well as getting higher, lower and left and right of where you are. Like I say, it's not going to be anything spectacular, but again, it's just nice to come out. It is, and I know I always say that, but it really is. Literally, the alarm went off at 5 o'clock this morning, and we'd been up till 12:30 this morning, taking some images of the Milky Way. So we had quite a clear night last night, and just from where we're staying, literally just went outside and the Milky Way was literally in front of us. I think it's a 43% moon at the moment, so not the best really for astro, because the light from the moon obviously interferes. But nevertheless, we did manage to get some Milky Way shots last night, so I might show you those, I might put those up. Just looks lovely over there just now, so I'm gonna take that shot and I'll come back to you in a second. So I've just zoomed in a little bit more. What am I on there? I'm on 35mm. By zooming in, I've cut out that road. I've got this bank of heather to the right. I've managed to get the 2 lock-ins in still, and the couple of peaks. I've not changed my settings. Again, just keeping an eye on that histogram. What I might just try and do a little bit is just maybe try to bring that down slightly, just to get a bit more of that foreground in. Just checking that the horizon is straight and focusing just far back. and that's better, so we've not got any blowout there. I'm not sure whether it's a bit unbalanced, to be honest, because of this bank. It sort of almost cuts into the shot and there's nothing else there to sort of frame that with. This focal length, I could go in a little bit tighter. You've just got to be careful, I think, sometimes when you've got lock-ons, that cutting the edge of them off isn't always pleasing, but sometimes you've just got to do what you think is right, what you think looks nice to you. You know, there's plenty of rules, I suppose, in photography about rule of thirds and making sure everything's balanced, and so much to think about when you're actually out and the light is lovely. You know, you're in an absolutely glorious, stunning location, you know, but you've got to remember that you're taking the shots for you as well. You know, you could go even tighter in there, and let's just move that sort of slightly round, and that is quite nice. I do quite like that. So what I tend to do excuse me, when I've found a composition that I like, is I'll focus the lens and then lock it off on the side, and using the remote shutter with a 1 second delay, you can then just keep taking the images without sort of worrying about keep focusing. It's just nice and soft, nice and subtle, nothing crazy going on. Beautiful.
I know I'm blind, but I hear symphonies of your heartbeat.
So what I've just been doing is trying to get some handheld shots. To do that, I've put my ISO up to 400 and I'm on one f10 and 1/60th of the second. So this is a famous tree and it's a classic shot. I think because we've taken what we've taken earlier, and we said if it caught our eye we'd maybe try and grab a shot. There was some nice light on the tree as we came down, and there is a little patch of heather just here. The light is just nice still, even though sort of the clouds moving in a little bit, but there's just a little ridge that runs through the middle of this image, leading you up to that mountain over there, which looks really, really nice. But I'm covered in mud, as is my camera. So I think we'll maybe call it a day for now, and if there is anything else on the way back to the car, then we might get the camera back out, but really enjoyed that this morning.
Gonna stay in this moment, gonna lay here on the grass.
So I think the best of the light's gone now. There is quite a bit of cloud that's moved in, snuffing out all of that light. But we've really enjoyed that, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been fab this morning.
Even though when the alarm went off at 5 o'clock, we just absolutely did not want to get up.
Yeah.
We looked out and it was just thick cloud. Although the forecast for today was showing pretty much 100% high cloud, no medium and no low. But as we drove down, we could see that gap on the horizon. But yeah, like I say, I don't think there's anything special this morning there, to be fair. I think we were chatting, weren't we, last night, sort of saying last time we was in Skye we had some absolutely stunning conditions and spent the week in Elgol. That light has just changed actually across there, and it's looking quite brown. When we was here in July, the landscape was just such a deep green. but looking across her, it's quite orangey. It's quite, I might have to get the camera back out and take another and just take another shot there. Not sure if it's the way that the light's catching it or not, but it's lovely. There's somebody getting married as well, just on the top of the hill there. What an absolutely stunning location to get married. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. But yeah, I think we'll call it a morning. The midges are now coming out as well, so I think we'll say adios and we'll see you next time.
If you saw our Facebook post, you'll know exactly what this is all about. Join us next week at Slickergun for a very close call.